Morning, Martin Weideman here from True North Ministry. I want to speak to you about the New Jerusalem and the wall of that city. Now we know that God said to John, I want to show you the bride or the wife of the Lamb. The Lamb is Jesus Christ and the wife is the church of Jesus Christ. So I want to show you the wife, the city. And he brought him on a place where he saw a city with 12 gates and the wall. But before I read this to you, I want you to understand, in your mind, see, it is not a normal city, a city like Johannesburg or Pretoria or the new type of cities that we know of, that had a great wall built around it. It was like the Old Testament type of Jericho type of city in their minds. The wall is one with the city. It is not a separate wall. The wall is one with the city, and this wall had 12 gates where you can enter into the city, a great and high wall, and I'm going to speak to you and explain it to you. But before that, with this in mind, because God wants to show him the mystery Christ in you, he wants to reveal that to John and to us. So first of all, let's read Ephesians 4, verse 13. It says, till we all come in the unity, till we all come in the unity of the faith. It is very important. We must all come to the unity of faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God. We must come to the unity in faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, who he is. That's why Revelation is opening the knowledge of Jesus Christ, who he is, and the mystery, him in you. So if it's opening him, it's opening you. Listen here. Unto a perfect man, until we all come to the faith, the knowledge of Jesus Christ, unto a perfect man. He's going to explain a perfect man now. Unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ. The fullness of Christ. I want you to come to the fullness, the full stature that Christ was. I want you to come to that unity of faith and to that full stature, a perfect man, with that in mind. All right, let's read Colossians 3 verse 10. And have put on the new man. Please put on the new man, people, church, which is renewed in the knowledge. Put on a new man, which is renewed in the knowledge. All right, first the knowledge of Christ. Yeah, the knowledge after the image of him that created him. So we must put a new image in our mind. After what image? After the image of the one who created us. Because we have an old mind, an old way. But the only way, we must get new knowledge of him, of who he really is. Now with that in mind, come to a perfect man. I want to speak to you about the great wall. Let's go to Revelation 21, because Revelation 21 verse 16 and 17 will explain it. And the city lie 4 square, it's a perfect square. The length and the length is as large as the breadth, and the measure the city with a reed. So it lies 4 square, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height are equal. I want you to understand, it's the wife, the church. there is a perfect square. The height, the length, and the breadth is exactly the same. There's equality. It's perfect. I want you to come to the perfect, as a perfect man, to the full stature of Christ. You can see? To the same faith. Alright? 12,000 furlongs. Let me explain that. It is prophetic language. You must understand with prophetic spirit. Prophetic Christ is the prophetic spirit. He will reveal it. 12,000 furlongs. Every number has a numeric image on it. So the number 12 means it's perfect number. It's the perfect number. Second of all, it means the power and the glory of God. The power and authority of God. And it means government. When God used the measure of 12, it means something of government. His authority, His power, His government. 12. 1,000 means infinity, or it means all. It also means to overcome, but it means not infinity, only infinity, but it means everything. So there's 1,000. There's 1,000 oxes, and there's 1,000 sheep on the hill. David will say it. Everyone belongs to God. Then it means that all of them belongs to God. All right, with that in mind. 12, perfect. I want you to come to a perfect man, the full stature of Christ. Authority, government, times 1,000 is 12,000. Perfect times infinity or fullness. You see, I want you to come to the fullness in 1 in 5, 1 in mind, to the full stature of Christ, a perfect square, to equality. Everyone in this church, in this bride, will be equal. No ranks here. They will be equal. I want to show you the wife. And the measure of the wall thereof. Remember, the wall is like the Old Testament city. It's part of the city. 144 cubits. The measure of a man. 144 is 12 times 12 is 144. So this city is 4 square. And the wall is 144 cubits. Now, in English, it is 65 meters. Doesn't make sense. Do not translate something like that with a natural mind, because God wants to explain the church, His bride. The people that is full of His glory. The church that is going to rule with Him. The church that is going to overcome. The church that will be perfect with that mind of Jesus Christ. The perfect, mature man. The full stature Christ. Man, church. Well, I explain to you. 12 times 12. It means full authority. People with the full stature of Christ. The full authority of God. The same image as God. 12 times 12. Listen here. He says, and the measure of the wall of this, 144 cubits. That's the special meaning of that. The measure of a man. Why a measure of a man? Because it is a full adult man. It is someone that is mature. It is not a child. It is the 144 cubits, 12 times 12, perfect foursquare, fullness, authority of God, and the measure of a man, a full mature man. That's what it means, and not the measure of a child. According to the angel, so it will say, and the measure of this wall, 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man. All right? That is of the angel. So, according to the angel, he said, this perfect place, am I going to explain to you? It is like jasper. It has the glory of God in it. It looks like God himself, because Revelation 4 says that God looks like jasper, and this wall is looking like jasper. It is perfect. Let me read this to you. Zechariah 2 verse 5. For I said the Lord, will be unto her a wall of fire round and about. God says to Israel, to this church, to this New Jerusalem, to his people, to his bride. Zechariah 2 verse 5. I will be unto her a wall, a fire round and about. I will be the glory in the midst of her, in the midst of this city. He is prophesying, Zechariah is prophesying about the New Jerusalem that is full of the light and the glory of God. And if we're going to read a little bit further in Revelation 21, verses, I think it's 21. It's 24, where it says, the nations will walk in the light of it, in the light of the city, and the kings shall bring their glory into it. Who is the people that come through the 12 gates, the 12 experiences to be part of this glory? The kings, not the natural kings, but those who overcome, that can sit with Christ, will bring their glory into this city. So this city will be actually the church that shines, the authority, the perfection, the glory of God himself. And this wall will be God around us like a fire. It will be the same statue as a man, a full-grown man. That's why I'm saying, if God explaining you, he's explaining him. If he's explaining him, he's explaining you. Because if you understand that two are one, when I explain the one, I explain the other one. And you know that God, Jesus Christ said 2,000 years ago, Father, John 17, I want them to be one with us, as we are one with them. I want to come and dwell in them, and they must dwell in me. And now I'm going to explain the city to you. I'm going to show you Christ. But when I'm showing you Christ, or the full stature man, I'm going to show you the wife, the church, the 12 gates, 12 entering places, 12 experiences, to have this fullness, this perfectness, the same mind as Christ himself. So the church, the New Jerusalem, is the explanation of you on this earth. But it is you full of the Spirit and the mind of Christ. May you be blessed in Jesus' mighty name.